Some people have seen photos of Doncic, and they say he looks slimmer. After the Lakers were eliminated in the first round of the playoffs by Minnesota, Coach J.J. Redick said some players on the team need to get in better shape. One of those players was Doncic, who the Lakers are counting on to be the new face of the franchise. Doncic was under orders to commit to an off-season conditioning program. A new and improved Doncic will help the Lakers justify trading Anthony Davis to get him. The LA Sparks will try to snap a 3-game losing streak in the WNBA tonight in Chicago against the Sky. The Sparks are 4-10. Live coverage on NBA TV at 5 p.m. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready?
Drop it!
Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule. 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tavis Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. With hopes that black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in to First Things First with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
The show is called First Things First, and my very first thing today and every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from the Most High, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and let's go. We're continuing our journey today, broadcasting from West Africa, Nigeria to be specific, and right now I'm standing on Moby Street in front of the Moby Royal Family Original Slave Relics Museum of Badagry. They call it a journey to an unknown destination, and I'm looking right into the faces of two sculptures of an enslaved black man and an enslaved black woman in chains, those chains broken. And we've taken a journey, really quite a road trip from the busy and glamorous resort where we were staying in Lagos to the countryside is all I can call it. In fact, the trip really highlighted my understanding of Lagos, which is it's a city of haves and have-nots. We went from the very glamorous, very swanky, I'll say, hotel where we're staying, through shanty towns, through freeways where people were literally living under the freeway, kind of like what we see in Los Angeles, but they seemed much more established, like almost like they were apartment buildings, but not buildings, obviously. They're encampments. And we went from yesterday seeing this Conservancy Museum, which was focused on climate justice and conservation, to seeing heaps and heaps of garbage and people burning trash and the smell of that, and just the extremes of what it's like to be in a kind of poverty that, yeah, some of us in the U.S. know, but many will never know. Of course, you also see the beautiful cultural signs. You see the people in gorgeous attire, always women and men carrying stuff on their heads. And I'm not talking about a cute little basket. I'm talking about giant bags of cement and wares for sale, like water and different candies and things. It's just a whole different environment. Nigeria, you know, there's water everywhere. There's water all around. You know, it's Lagos is coastal, and there's also lakes and bays. It's that bright green trees and foliage contrasted with skyscrapers in the big city. So we've made this journey to Badagry. I'm going to say we drove, about an hour and a half, I think, maybe close to 2 hours, through some highways and freeways, but also through some little dirt roads, to arrive here, because this is one of the places where our ancestors, the evidence of their enslavement has been preserved as a memory. And it's interesting because I feel like as Black Americans, we think of the history of enslavement as our history. Hopefully not the beginning and the only part of our history, but our history. And when you come here and you see it from this perspective, you can see the scars that are left behind from the families that had fathers and mothers and children robbed from them. So here we are going into a tour where we'll find out about the slave remnants that are here in Badagry. And clearly every port I've been to the dungeons at Elmina, I've been to the Slave River in Ghana, we've gone to a museum and former slave market and in Zanzibar, and to Alex Haley's island from Roots in St. James Island off the coast of Senegal, off the coast of Senegambia, as they call it. And everywhere I've gone, I've seen statues and memorials and artwork that expresses the breaking of chains and the commitment to never letting this happen again. So I believe that as much as we feel it's our own history, Africans also know that it's part of their history. In Ghana at Elmina, we even had one of the docents talk about an apology for those who enabled the enslavement of the people that were brought to the Americas and throughout. Actually, the diaspora, Africa's children are everywhere. And then again, the mourning of those that are lost. And I think that's why this welcoming home is so strong here. Now, we're looking at a group of 50 people, mostly Black Americans, although it's a little bit of a mix, who have come here to West Africa in search of their own ancestors. Everyone is dressed in white today in honoring the tradition here of honoring the ancestors, and also to keep our heads and minds cool. One other thing that I've noticed, this is actually our 8th trip to the motherland with African Focus Incorporated and KBLA, well, 4th for KBLA, is that it's so important for us that when we come here, there's an emotion and joy of coming back. But when we go to the places where our ancestors were enslaved, there's a rage that happens. There's a mourning. There's a deep emotional kind of, expression. It's really hard to describe it if you haven't experienced it. The first time I was at the slave dungeon in Ghana, our travelers literally started fighting with each other inside the slave dungeon, and we had to form a prayer circle and calm ourselves down. And that was because from inside the dungeon, where the blood and packed down feces and life forces of our ancestors were still there on those floors, you could see the churches in the distance. You could see the towering crosses on the hill, and people were feeling some kind of way, like, how is it that people of faith allowed this to happen? And in every stop like this, there's been some version of that. I think last year we had a big town hall meeting where people were emotional and clashing with each other, and I think that clashing is just processing the feelings that come up, which are unexpectedly strong, and which I think are not just in our minds, but they're in our bodies, they're in our DNA. Because there's a feeling when you come back to Africa, like almost like you're resetting the media, like your eyes, your skin, the sun that shines on you is reminding you of a time before America, a time from whence we came, and a time of our ancestors. So it's an inexplicable thing, but we've learned that when we go to these places, we need time to process it. We need time to write or weep or argue or cry, and it's one of the reasons we come together in white. Of course, it looks beautiful too, to see everybody here, many with their heads covered, in just searching for answers, searching for those missing puzzle pieces that can bring us closer to our truth, closer to our wholeness. You've heard me say many times, in the West African Yoruba tradition, you need to be able to name 9 generations going back of your ancestors to be considered mentally stable. Well, none of us have that. Very few of us would have that as Black Americans, as freedmen. But here we find little pieces of the puzzle that make us feel more whole. And it's a powerful thing. I'm not meaning to romanticize or glorify Africa. I described the scene to you, the haves and the have-nots. We know the colonizing and the pillaging of this continent is part of it. Some of it is our own responsibility. But what I'm saying is that there are pieces of us here, and we're encountering them and finding them. And hopefully we come back wholer and stronger, and with a more global eye to our place in the world, our place in our civilization, our place in history. And certainly it is a grand one. All life generates from the Nile Valley in Africa, and certainly as originators of the human being and creative people full of love and joy, we are encountering ourselves in a way that makes us stronger. And right now, I want you to meet some of the African Focus KBLA Talk 1580 Trailblazers.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
See website for details. Bills Happen is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Hey, bills happen. So when you need extra cash fast, go to billshappen.com. Have you been turned down? Are your credit cards maxed out? Do you have bad credit? Go to billshappen.com. All you need is a job and a checking account. You can find a lender and get up to $5,000 cash as early as tomorrow at billshappen.com. Billshappen.com is the smart way to get a personal lender now. So if you need extra money for car repairs, medical bills, family emergencies, whatever you need cash for, go to billshappen.com and you can get the money you need as soon as the next day, up to $5,000. At billshappen.com, our process is safe, secure, and all online. No one to deal with in person, and Bills Happen does not charge you any fees to use our service. It's easy. When you need a lender, just remember, when bills happen, go to billshappen.com. Billshappen.com for the cash you need now. Billshappen.com.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Good morning.
Greetings.
Introduce yourself to the KBLA delegation. Who are you and why did you decide to come on this trip?
Well, I am Tony Hawkins. I am from Mississippi originally, but I reside in San Diego, California. So what brought me to go on this trip is just the ideal of being able to connect, being able to just settle in and know that the sacrifices that was made for me to be where I'm at today was not done in vain. So I take all of the ancestors and all of the DNA that runs through me and those that brought me to this point to give blessings and respect for their dedication, their sacrifice, and the foundation that I stand on. So this is that point in life to where you realize that their work was not in vain, that the dedication that they put in, the life sacrifice that they made for me to be where I'm at, it wasn't in vain. So I try to be the most successful person I can be in honoring my ancestors, my mother, my father, and those who have laid that foundation, because so many times I'm quite sure that parents look back and they shake their head and they wonder could they have done better. So to have respect and honor for those who have made that sacrifice I'm here.
How did you hear about the trip?
Well, it was through a coworker of mine. Her name is Patricia, and her and I really made a connection. And through that, I became part of the African Focus. And with that playing out, she has been a main contributor and supporter of me being part of this. So that's how I was able to connect.
What is it about African Focus that made you want to get involved with that organization?
It's the connection. It's being able to come and fellowship, come to the table, and really kind of build that bridge, because that bridge has not really been built between us. So therefore, you know, we who continue to travel, we who continue to build that bridge, it helps, because what's being told to them is being told to us, and it keeps us divided.
It's like a cycle of misinformation and disinformation. I know one of the missions at African Focus is to spread accurate information about the motherland and connect African Americans and Africans together. What did you feel like? Is this your first trip to Africa?
This is my first trip.
So what did you feel like when you stepped off the plane?
You know, it was a calmness for me. I feel like, yeah, okay, I'm here. You know, it wasn't an overwhelming emotional thing, but it was more of a calming thing, because this is one of the things that was definitely on my bucket list to do. And sometimes it takes sacrifices to do those things. And I'm grateful that I have this opportunity to do this. So certainly.
I know we're only a couple days in. What has hit you the most so far?
A mixture of things. I've noticed that there are haves and have-nots, period. There's really no middle ground. You either have it or you don't have it. So this is a young country too. 1940-something, 46 is when this country was actually given its independence, or however you want to word it.
Took its independence.
Yeah, or it took its independence.
Yeah, so you're talking about Nigeria right now. Just
Right.
so people are tracking where we're sitting as we speak. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, they got some growing to do. It's a young democracy. So I now respect that. So there's a lot of constructions going on. So, you know, you have to allow people to develop and to grow without interfering with their progress. And I think a lot of times they have had that interference from the outside, and it has somewhat removed what we would call a middle class from the country. So this is why you have the haves and the have-nots.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, the Western powers taking the resources out of the country and not sharing them with the vast majority of people, i.e. in Nigeria, you're talking about vast amounts of oil, which mostly, of course, have profited U.S. and British petroleum companies and left the people without those resources. And, you know, on and on. I mean, there's a whole history there that we could go into. But it sounds like you're kind of feeling and seeing the remnants of that, or the impact of that on the country.
I am. And that's heartbreaking. However, I do see progress, and I know that this country and its citizens has the power to overcome, to be better, and to show their greatness.
How do you find people respond to you?
Oh, it's pretty nice. I mean, you know, it's a different thing. You definitely know once you open your mouth, you know, what's what. What I find is that, you know, it's their culture. So I'm trying to understand it. You know, where I'm at, I often speak to everyone. That's my Mississippi thing. You know, you should speak to everyone. And here everybody don't speak. And it reminds me of some places, even when I'm traveling, everybody don't speak. So you have to be mindful, even if you want to, just to be able to say, okay, you know what, this is what it is.
That's Nigeria. I'm laughing because Nigerians just have their own vibe. Wait till we get to Ghana. Everybody's going to speak to you no matter where you go.
Okay.
And we'll see. Maybe when we get out to the country in Nigeria, I haven't really experienced that as much. I've mostly been in Lagos, in the city.
Right.
Well, no, we went to Benin City last time. it was more country. Just how, in the United States, you have people in the city have one attitude, people in the country have another attitude.
Yes.
So we're going to see that today, I think, when we go out to the country in Nigeria. We'll test it out, whether they're more friendly or more, likely to speak to you there. What has surprised you that you've seen or heard?
Well, I haven't had any, what I would say, surprises. I've just only had calmness of the spirit and a hopeness for the country well-being of being the great country that they can be.
What about as far as your perceptions of how it might be to come here versus what you're actually experiencing?
Well, I would say this. I've often YouTubed different parts of the world just to see, because what you see on television is not necessarily what's being seen or experienced. So with this platform of YouTube and others, you can actually go and see for yourself through other people's eyes and see the city, because everything is not a hut. Everything is not a desert. So you can see it for yourself. You can experience for yourself, like where we're at right now. This is beautiful. You couldn't actually, this is a Western style type of atmosphere when you're here sitting by the pool and enjoying the atmosphere and people are just out mingling.
Yeah, we're sitting poolside and there's a poolside bar there, and there's at least 3 restaurants on each side, and it looks like a nice upscale Western
it does
hotel, which is what it is, except it's not Western. We're in Nigeria. One of the things that always strikes me about Nigeria in particular, and probably Lagos, is just the fashion. People are so suited and booted here.
They are, and I find there's a mixture of things that are happening, because for me, I see a bit of a Paris fashion thing along with their own natural attire of wear. So I see those two kind of blending per se.
Yeah, it's an international vibe, right?
It is. It absolutely is. It absolutely is an international vibe.
What are you looking forward to most on the trip?
You know what? I haven't even put that in perspective. I'm just looking for the trip, looking forward to the totality of the experience.
Living in the moment.
Oh, yeah, definitely taking it all in. And I'm glad that we have these devices to remind us of a time in our lives when we get older to say, you did that.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. What would you say to people back home in San Diego or Southern California or anywhere in the U.S. About traveling here or your thoughts so far?
I would say if you know or believe that you are from the continent, experience that. Go experience it for yourself. I didn't want to do a safari. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just experience the people, because you can always go to the zoo to see animals, and that's what a safari is to me. I want to experience the people, the city life, and just see how they move and vibe. I can sit here and just watch people and really enjoy myself and say I've had a great time. That's what I want to do, and that's exactly what I'm doing with a whole lot of other people. So it's beautiful.
Thank you so much for coming on the trip, and thanks for stopping to talk.
Hey, that's it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump is at the NATO summit in the Netherlands, pushing allies on defense spending after brokering a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. White House correspondent John Decker is there.
The president will have a win as it relates to getting every one of the 32 members of the NATO Defense Alliance to pay their fair share.
Tensions remain over Ukraine, with Trump frustrated by Russian President Vladimir Putin's refusal to agree to a ceasefire. A Black Dallas, Texas teen has been indicted for murder in the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a high school track meet. Carmelo Anthony, now 18, faces 5 to 99 years in prison if convicted. And Brandy and Monica are teaming up for the Boy Is Mine tour, hitting 24 cities this fall. It kicks off October 16th in Cincinnati, Ohio, and wraps December 7th in Houston, Texas. Kelly Rowland, Money Long, and American Idol winner Jamal Roberts will join them. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
So careful if you're going through Anaheim, right at the 57 South, right at the 2. We are getting some reports of some debris in the left lanes. It is causing some slowing from Chapman, but they have issued a dispatch to clear this out of the way for you. Then in East LA, 710 North, just before Whittier, center lane's going to be blocked for a crash, slow speeds from Atlantic. And then we still have that stalled Big Rig in East LA on the 5 North at Olympic. They are in the right lane, and the backup now goes from the 605.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NBA draft is tonight. The Dallas Mavericks have the number 1 pick, and they intend to use it to select Duke forward Cooper Flagg. Barring a last-minute trade today, the Lakers will be one of 9 teams without a first-round pick. They won't have a pick tonight until number 55 in the second round. The Clippers have the last pick in the first round at number 30. Live coverage of the draft begins at 5 p.m. on ABC and ESPN. The Angels beat Boston 3-2 in 10 innings. Rookie second baseman Christian Moore hit a game-tying homer in the 8th and a 2-run homer in the 10th to win it. The Dodgers held on for a 9-7 win at Colorado. Shohei Ohtani hit his 27th home run this season, a 2-run shot in the 6th inning. The LA Sparks continue to struggle. They lost their 4th straight game, a 97-86 loss to the Chicago Sky. The Sparks are 4-11 in the WNBA. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader. If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Follow the leader.
Following the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
When you turn to the Employment Development Department, we'll help you get there. Whether it's support for you and your family while you find a new job, or the resources to focus on your recovery after illness or injury, we can help you move forward. From support while you bond with your newborn, to helping serve your family while your partner serves our country. Your EDD. We'll help you get there. For more information, visit edd.ca.gov.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Once again, sitting in a luxurious spot in Lagos, Nigeria. And this is, I believe, Gerald, your second trip with us?
This is my second trip with African Focus.
What made you decide to come on back?
I had to come. You know, the first time was just so amazing, but just with the history of West Africa, you know, and being part of the slave trade, and just seeing other countries and traveling and getting a different perspective, but, you know, knowing the fact that my great-great-grandfather was born a enslaved person, you know, and, you know, being able to trace your history, it's like the Sankofa bird, except, you know, ours didn't begin like the Sankofa bird, you know, our history didn't begin in slavery, but, you know, that's what we're taught in schools, and being able to trace my grandfather back, but only so far, you know, and to be able to come here to the motherland and get that different perspective of the history and going backwards. Of course, you know, now that we're out of primary school and we're seeking knowledge on our own, we're able to educate ourselves and learn more of our rich history. And just, like I say, realizing, you know, just the sanctity of this area being involved in the slave trades was just so important to me to be able to see and set foot on.
And of course, that means a lot of our ancestors are probably from here, at least for many of us. It sounds like almost like you're finding missing puzzle pieces.
Definitely looking back and connecting with people on the motherland. And once again, you know, in the history of the Sankofa bird, being able to look back to be able to move forward, you know, tying all those important pieces in. So, and once again, thanks to African Focus, Uchenna, Emily, and you, Dominique, for putting this trip together and just traveling and connecting, like I said, with this being my second trip and being familiar with our quote-unquote trailblazer family, you know, it just makes the experience so much more rich, you know.
When you talk about the Trailblazer family, you know, of course, for those who are not familiar, KBLA and African Focus Incorporated team up. And this was one of the unexpected outcomes for me of this project, which is a bonding that happens between people, which seems to last not just on the trip, but kind of like forever. Describe that, if you would.
Well, connecting with my brothers and sisters with a shared interest of travel and being able to communicate with them and talk to them and learn different bits and pieces of our history. But, you know, I had the honor of being ceremonially inducted into a Nigerian family, the Nuwargu family. And that was just such a moving, touching experience for me, and just took it to a different spiritual plane. You know, it's just not like going to Disneyland or something of that nature. You honestly connect with the continent and with the people, and they're just so welcoming and so warm. And so being able to, once again, be educated on our history and our history as a past, it's just so refreshing.
Yeah, but I kind of know what you mean, because it's like the formal history, book history, and then there's the personal past that feels like some kind of ancestral connection. And of course, when you talk about being inducted, one of the things African Focus does is African families symbolically and spiritually adopt African American families as a means of reconnecting us to the motherland and hopefully healing some of those ancestral wounds, you know, and those missing puzzle pieces.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
You know, you went, I think the last trip you traveled with us was South Africa.
Yes.
Which is a very different experience because it's still not, even though the government is run by black folks, it's still not controlled, the land and resources not controlled by indigenous African melanated people. I know we've only been here for a short time, but talk to me about that difference as you perceive it.
Well, I would say you definitely feel the influence more so of the colonizers in South Africa. And then, you know, to be able to go to Robben Island, Cape Town, and then Zimbabwe was the step outside of that quote unquote power structure. But you could definitely feel, you know, like you said, symbolically we're representative, but financially and in the power positions, South Africa still seems to be in some ways under the influence. You know, they did, you know, go through apartheid and were able to free our brother Nelson Mandela and elect him as a president. So they've come a long way, but you can definitely feel the chains, I would say, in that perspective, because they do control the power and they do control the money.
And then contrast with what you're seeing here.
Here is a different vibe. It's definitely a different vibe because our people are heavily involved in banking, heavily involved in the film industry, and then it's quote unquote the Silicon Valley, but we have all of our people that look like us in those positions of power and making those key decisions. So to me, it's, well, I would say South Africa was kind of like a polished version, and this seems to be the more authentic, in my opinion, version of Africa.
Mm. What are you taking away so far? What are you emotionally, socially, spiritually, what are you taking away so far?
Well, once again, today we're going to travel to the quote-unquote slave castles, and being able to go to those points of no return. I'm actually looking forward to that experience. How it's going to touch me, I've yet to understand, but I just can't help but think there's got to be some type of very emotional and very, just the symbolism of that whole area. Nigeria, Ghana, and Benin Republic, as we know, were all heavily involved in the enslavement and the sale of our peoples, so to be able to set foot on those sacred grounds, I just can't wait to be there and experience that. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
I have to talk again afterwards and see how you feel. It's definitely a lot, and it's going to be an interesting day. And have you been surprised by anything so far? Have you been, moved by anything so far that you've seen here?
You mean other than the traffic?
Well, let's start with that doggone traffic.
Well, it seems to be chaos, but it's kind of a melodic the way they move around. Wow, we never seen one accident, how they all come together in kind of a symphony, if you will.
A symphony of chaos. Yeah, chaos is the perfect word. I would be terrified to drive here.
That's what I was thinking if I was behind that wheel. It's bad enough or just a challenge experience to be in the back seat, but I don't know if I could ever manipulate those roads. And but it's warming, especially Lagos is beautiful, the land of the lakes, the Atlantic Ocean from the other side, and it's really beautiful here. And we're at an excellent, beautiful resort. All the amenities are here. The people are so warm, and they embrace you and welcome you. But that's the spirit I still felt in South Africa, although, the overarching feel was they still kind of had a grip. But this seems to be, like I say, more liberating, if you will.
What would you say to people? This is your second trip back. What would you say to folks in LA if you were going to say anything about the traveling to the motherland?
Well, pictures just can't do it justice. Although just to be able to come here and lay eyes on it for yourself and to experience the sounds, the culture, the food, and the people is something that you just can't get from a book. We do get a lot of knowledge from books, don't get me wrong, and they're a very important part of, and this just rounds out the picture. It just makes it complete.
Well, Gerald, I'm glad you came back, and thank you for stopping to talk.
Thank you so much, Dominique. It's been my pleasure.
Absolutely. You know, I'm looking forward to today as well. I always find that contact with the ancestors, where we go back and see their pain and their suffering, to be very sad, but also very affirming in a way, because here we are.
Yes.
Those are doors of no return.
Yes.
And yet we're back, and we're unstoppable. And I always think, you know, when we went to the Gambia, we were at St. James Island. I remember thinking as we drove off in the boat that I had a renewed sense of purpose. If we went through the door of no return and our ancestors thought all was lost, we would perish, never to be heard from again.
Right.
And we're back. It's like we're unkillable.
Yeah.
So that means we must have a lot to do in this world. So I hope you share that sense of purpose. And once again, Gerald, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Every mother deserves a healthy and joyous pregnancy and birth, and every baby deserves to thrive. That's why the Los Angeles County Abundant Birth Project is here. The Abundant Birth Project is a guaranteed income program that provides cash during pregnancy to pregnant individuals at the highest risk of preterm and low birth rate babies. Although program enrollment has closed, our commitment to Black joy and thriving continues. Through tailored services that foster mental well-being and community-based resources, we provide care and support during pregnancy and after the baby is born to help build brighter futures for our families. Join us in celebrating abundant births in LA County. For more information, please visit abundantbirthproject.org. abundantbirthproject.org. Are you ready to play? Then jump into the LA 84 Foundation's Free Playday Block Party, a community celebration for all ages, including live music, dancing, LA's pro sports teams, great local food trucks, plus special giveaways for you to take home. Enjoy an exciting, fun-filled day for the entire family. Join us Saturday, June 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 2141 West Adams Boulevard. To register, go to la84.org. We'll see you Saturday, June 28th at LA 84 Foundation's Free Playday Block Party.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431, and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has worksource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
One of the things that's been so informative for me is to see the many different ways these trips hit different folks from different walks of life. Someone like Gerald, who clearly has seen many things. When you look at him, he looks like a man from Leimert Park with his locks and his beautiful African jewelry. To others who may be more conservative, there seems to be just different ways that we receive this, different things that we see, different things that we learn. And that's part of the power of it, which is why I hope you can come with us one year. Of course, you're coming with us now virtually. Excuse me. But I hope you can come with us 1 year. And I want to give love to African Focus. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, you can go to africanfocus.org, africanfocus.org. We have the annual Goodwill Awards and induction where people get connected. Black Americans get connected with African families. Black Americans who have a history of enslavement, folks you would call freedmen or descendants of enslaved persons. So africanfocus.org, you can keep your eye out there if you want to go on the trip with us in 2026, because these days it's selling out so fast. It's like we've become unafraid of the motherland. I love that so much. I partly attribute that to 2019 and the year of the return, when a lot of celebrities made the trip to Africa and I guess popularized it. By then we had already been going for 3 years, but I find that people are much more accepting and understanding this is a great place for an historical journey, for a cultural journey, but also a great place for a vacation, like beautiful beaches, great restaurants, lovely hotels. So whatever you're seeking, whether you're looking for your history or looking for a good time or doing some service, as we will do while we're here, we have already raised money before we came to put water wells in 2 different schools so the children can have water. As we discovered in Kenya, they had a 2-hour break in the middle of the day so the children can go forage for water. And after we left that school, they had 2 hours a day back to use on instruction of those children, because we left them with a water tank where they can collect water during the rainy season, filter it, and offer it to the children. So we're doing 2 of those. We're donating school uniforms to 2 schools. And of course, we bring fun things like toys, soccer balls, and such. So there's a service aspect as well. And I know that, Mothers in Action and a couple of our book clubs have also donated to make this possible. Black Lives Matter, Los Angeles, and others have donated to help make these donations possible. And we really appreciate you for that. This is a community effort. It's a community journey. And one thing that we'll do when we get back, and probably for the rest of our lives, is spread the word about the difference between what we've read and what we've seen and what is actually really happening on the ground. Broadcasting from Badagry, actually, Nigeria, West Africa. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A bipartisan vote in the House has blocked an impeachment attempt against President Trump. Black Texas Congressman Al Green accused Trump of abusing power by launching strikes on Iranian nuclear sites without congressional approval.
I do this because I love my country. I do this because I understand that the Constitution is going to be meaningful or it will be meaningless.
Tuesday's vote was 344 to 79, with 128 Democrats voting with Republicans. Closing arguments begin Thursday in Sean Diddy Combs' sex crimes trial in New York. Both sides rested, with no witnesses from the defense and no rebuttal from prosecutors. Combs has pleaded not guilty to sex trafficking and other charges. And the 2025 NBA Draft tips off Wednesday night in Brooklyn, with the Dallas Mavericks holding the top pick. Rutgers stars Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey are also projected early picks. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Going out to West LA, 405 North, just before Wilshire. That's a crash blocking your two middle lanes. That's why there's a backup coming from Santa Monica Boulevard. Then in East LA, 710 North, just before Whittier, there was an earlier crash up on that right shoulder. They should be towing this out of the way, but you do have some slow speeds coming from Atlantic. Then in South LA on the 110 South at Manchester, that's a crash up on your right shoulder. CHP should be there, but we have some slow speeds from Gage.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NBA draft is tonight. The Dallas Mavericks have the #1 pick, and they intend to use it to select Duke forward Cooper Flagg. Barring a last-minute trade today, the Lakers will be one of 9 teams without a first-round pick. They won't have a pick tonight until number 55 in the second round. The Clippers have the last pick in the first round at number 30. Live coverage of the draft begins at 5 p.m. on ABC and ESPN. The Angels beat Boston 3-2 in 10 innings. Rookie second baseman Christian Moore hit a game-tying homer in the 8th and a 2-run homer in the 10th to win it. The Dodgers held on for a 9-7 win at Colorado. Shohei Ohtani hit his 27th home run this season, a 2-run shot in the 6th inning. The LA Sparks continue to struggle. They lost their 4th straight game, a 97-86 loss to the Chicago Sky. The Sparks are 4-11 in the WNBA. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah. Gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power!
Broadcasting as we are from Nigeria, West Africa. It's been really fun, as usual, getting to know our trailblazers and their different perspectives on what's going on. And